Hi, I'm Fara Sax, and this is the Community Voice. Yes, the U is in the house. Women's basketball, I am here with new head coach, Tricia Cullop. She was named the 8th coach for the University of Miami women's basketball team. She is a seasoned leader with 16 years at the University of Toledo, including 5 MAC wins, titles, and a bunch of NCAA success. Cullop brings with her winning pedigree, strong academic focus, and integrity to lead the Hurricanes to many, many victories. Coach is with me right now. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So, big transition.
Yeah, quite a few miles between Toledo, Ohio and Miami.
Absolutely. And you did it all by walking. It's an amazing thing. What was that transition like for you? You know, you're a girl, OH10 and all kinds of Indiana, and you grew up there.
Yeah.
What's that like to come to a different place?
When you change jobs in coaching, it's a whirlwind. You know, I think the last game that I coached, we were at Washington State and then flew home on a charter and then did an interview here and then got the job and was moving very quickly. So when you get a college coaching job, the most important thing is hiring and maintaining your roster, because with the transfer portal and all of that, everything's moving so fast that you don't want to lose an opportunity for players or for quality staff members. But then you also throw in what a different place, right? But so excited to be here. What an amazing place to live and to work. And I'm so excited to be here.
I just want to tell you, you will be very disappointed because we do not have winters like you're used to.
I'm not disappointed at all. In fact, my closet size has shrunk significantly without all those winter coats.
Oh my God, that's good. That's good. So you went to school in Purdue, and tell me about that and what led you to athletics growing up?
My mother and my father, first of all, my mother grew up before the Title IX era. And so I had 2 sisters, and she signed us up for everything because she didn't have those opportunities and she wanted us to have them. And, you know, never once complained about driving us to any practice or anything because she was so excited, and I think was living through us, that we had that opportunity. My dad was the traditional girl dad. He was out in the backyard playing basketball with us, you know, throwing us pitches for softball, you name it, and just extremely supportive. So, you know, I grew up with a family that encouraged us to play sports because they knew what sports taught us.
What did it teach you? What did you go into thinking that it would teach you, and what has it taught you after all these years of at least 5 years from that time, right? What really shaped you as a woman during that time?
Well, I think when you first start playing, you just think, well, I'm going to learn how to win. And what you learn along the way is it teaches you how to be a good teammate, how to be a good leader, how to overcome obstacles, because we all have them, how to maturely handle wins and losses, how to be humble, but how to be graceful. And, you know, and I think learning how to work with people who are different than you, and appreciate their differences and celebrate them. You know, I think there's so many things that I've learned through sports that no matter what our players go on to do, or had I not chosen to be a coach, do something else, it would have benefited me greatly.
And you walk the walk because you lived it. And what are some of the challenges you're finding now with young women in sports? As compared to when you were up and coming, is it the same kind of problems? Is it different, or are they more in the public spotlight because of social media?
Yeah.
What is that difference that you've seen?
I think some things are similar, right? I think everyone is striving to be the best they possibly can be, and sometimes they're overcoming injuries and those type of things. I do think social media is really big. We didn't have that, thank goodness. You know, we didn't have cell phones that were taking pictures of us or taking videos. So we didn't deal with that, you know, and the criticism that they face from people that are nameless, that are just on social media or on chat boards. So I think those are things that thankfully I didn't have to face when I was a player, that I'm very cognizant of with our players. But I think from a coaching standpoint, things I face are the transfer portal. I don't want our players to transfer. And then even dealing with NIL. And different things.
Explain that to our audience that might not know.
Yeah, so our players can benefit from their name, image, and likeness. When we say NIL, that's what that is. So, you know, I think that there's a lot of money involved in college sports that wasn't there when I played. When I played, you got a scholarship, and that was it. Now there are a lot of other things that have come into play where players can receive sums of money from a collective or from their name, image, likeness to play at an institution. And so that brings a whole different element into the recruiting process that didn't exist. Prior to this, you worried about, does the school have my major? And do I like the team? And now there's another element. The one thing that I stress to our supporters is, if NIL and collective is the most important thing to a kid, then I don't know that they're the right person for us, because I want people who still appreciate their education, that still want to be a great teammate and are a great leader and are going to represent us well in our community. But I do understand that's part of the process now. And so we want to set them up for success. And I do think this city offers a lot of opportunities for them to take advantage of their brand and to develop relationships with businesses that could benefit them long after they graduate.
And that's very interesting, because that could be a double-edged sword. It could be something that could be positive, used for the positive, but it could also really go down the wrong track. Have you seen that as well?
I think we're all still learning. It's new enough that I think we're all still learning as we go along, but I really haven't seen a whole lot of negative. I've seen a lot more positive that, maybe players that couldn't afford things now have some money to go do something that maybe they were prohibited from doing because of their financial status. Now they feel like they're part of the team and could go enjoy what the community has to offer. And that's awesome. Or I've seen a situation where a player couldn't afford a car, so they were trapped on campus while their teammates, they had to ask for rides all the time. Where now maybe they could afford something where they can get out and about. And that's all positive, because it helps them develop their social skills so that they communicate with people that are different from them, see things that are different from them, experience all Miami has to offer. Obviously, during the season, I don't want them doing all of that, but I do think in the off season, why not?
And you came aboard on the off season, and you just played your first game with Stetson. What's that like to really grow a new team for you? It's like meeting new folks, a new family that you're here with.
Well, what happened at our game, started in April. I mean, we were able to do individual workouts when I first got here. We were able to piece together a virtually new roster. There were 3 returners that came back, and then 3 freshmen that stayed. But everyone else on the team, we were able to get out of the portal. So we have a lot of new faces. We have some of the returning staff and some new staff that we're also blending together. But I think it's come together nicely. I love the mentality of our team. I love that they're class acts on and off the court. They had a 3.5 GPA this summer. I do think that they stand for the right things, and I do think that they really, really want to be the best team they can be. And so that's been fun for me. They're very coachable.
That's wonderful. And let's talk about the players. 3 of them were part of the 2023 Elite 8 team. Let's talk about them.
Yeah, I think the Cavenders joining us back. They set out last year.
They're twins. How do you tell them apart? I mean, I look at them and go, which one is who?
Well, it took me a minute. In fact, I joked with them that every time I called them the wrong name, they could call me the wrong name until I got it right. What do they call you now, Coach? They call me TC. So they call me by my initials. But Haley and Hannah Cavender are 2 of the hardest workers you'll ever be around. They're in the gym at 6 in the morning every day, getting shots up. In addition to our practices, they are managing a small business, because if you talk about the space of NIL, they are one of the first to hit that space and really succeed with it. They've built a corporation on the side. So in addition to going to school, you'll see them dealing with NIL opportunities, but they're very, very mature about how they handle it and very organized. But these are really creating entrepreneurs, along with women's sports of learning how to be a team, how to be a team player. It's really something to be said for the NILs, for that to happen for the twins that you're speaking about. And they're great role models for the rest of my players in that space, because they can teach them how to manage it in a very professional way. And they're really talented players. And then in addition to the twins, Haley and Hannah, we also have Jasmine Roberts, who is a phenomenal player who's very versatile, that can play inside and out. I'm really blessed that we have 3 from that group, because they know what it takes to play at that level, and they can hold our players to that standard every day.
And where are they coming from?
Well, the twins originally are from Indiana, but they're going to claim Arizona. And then Jasmine is from Jacksonville.
What do they just have to? You have to just fill up the MAC because you're from Indiana. They have to say they're from Arizona.
Yeah, but no, I'll tell you, when they played in the Elite 8, that was a big deal for them, because beating Indiana at Indiana when they're from Indiana was very, very cool for them. And a lot of their family could be at that game. And so when you ask them what was one of the highlights of their career when they were here before, they're going to say that elite win, the win to get to the Elite 8 over Indiana.
Oh, that's wonderful. And let's talk about the 18 best freshmen.
I think what's great about them, Simone Pellish is actually out right now with an injury. She has a broken finger, but she's a stretch four that can really shoot it. Anae Adams is a guard who has very great quickness. She can play combo. And then Leah Harmon is a really quick kid that can play the one or two, who can really score in bunches. She can shoot the three, she can drive, great ball handling skills. What I love about Nay and Leah is their quickness. They're very difficult to catch. I wouldn't want to try to catch them. And they're very great in transition, but they're also great on the ball defenders, and we need that.
Absolutely. And it brings a new energy. You bring a new energy from where you've been to here. What do you want the fans, what do you want the community to know about the University of Miami Hurricanes women's basketball that maybe are not engaging with you right now, and the importance of that for our community as we grow our leaders, as you were saying, entrepreneurs, future leaders of our community, and just going out and having you of a time. I practiced that all day yesterday. I was reprimanded because I did it wrong yesterday. But what does that mean? And how should the community move forward and participate in this wonderful program?
Well, I think first, I would challenge them to come out to a game and just check it out, because I think number one, they're going to enjoy the style of play. It's exciting. We're very up tempo. We're a very unselfish team that's just going to share the basketball. I think number two, if you have young kids, they're going to enjoy this team. They're great role models. They're kids that, and after the game, we don't go to the locker room. We'll put 10 minutes on the court, and you can meet and interact with our players. We do that on purpose so that they can get to meet people. You never know when it might help our players, and that they may meet someone that's in their field that could help them with a job later on. But more importantly, I hope they're interacting with young kids while they're there, because you never know when one of those younger kids may end up being a Miami Hurricane later on in life. And I would love to inspire them to join basketball and to be a part of athletics, and to hopefully learn all those great lessons that we've learned. But even for employers, I hope they come out and they watch, because I think they're going to meet young women they're going to want to hire.
It's wonderful. And I guess coming together as a community is so important, and especially for this time and for women's. I remember years ago, my kids and I would go to the Seoul basketball games, the women, and it was a wonderful opportunity to see young women that were much older than my girls come together for a common good, to be a role model. And then one of my daughters went on to soccer, and she met her all-time favorite. And so it was really an amazing experience that you can attain this. You can do this. There's a possibility for you in sports. There's an opportunity in sports.
And I think there's so much to learn from watching. There's something to learn from playing it, but there's something to learn from watching it too. To watch a player miss a couple shots and have the confidence to keep shooting. To participate as a fan. Where I came from, we were top 30 in the country in attendance 12 out of the last 13 years. We really, really want to build that here. And I think we can. But I think it starts with relationships. We've gotten our team out into the community. We've helped feed the homeless. We helped out with the Race for the Cure in Hialeah. We have gone to all the Halloween events in town to hand out posters and candy and interact with the fans. I think it's important that people get to know our players and our staff. That to me is more valuable than any billboard or ad that you can put up in the community, simply because relationships resonate. And if you meet someone, you're more apt to come to the game and support it than if you just see a picture of them as you're driving down the highway.
Absolutely. It's a personal touch. And did you follow this philosophy when you were up north?
We did. And I do think, Rome wasn't built in a day. What we want to do here probably won't be built in a day, but we're going to make a big dent. I thought what was great about our first game is that we had our elementary school day at 11 a.m. and we had over 5,000 people there. But the energy from kids. My mother was a school teacher, and one thing I love about that game is you're inviting an opportunity for kids that maybe haven't ever had the opportunity to go to a sporting event, an opportunity to see it, to take it in, to meet. Our players went up in the stands afterwards to say hello, to inspire them, and also remind them that, hey, unless you do well academically, you can't be out here. So inspire them to do well academically. That game is very meaningful to me because of my upbringing with my mom.
Absolutely. And talk about like a day in the life. I don't think people realize the work that goes into it, not only maintaining their grades, but also the time to keep fit, to keep themselves in shape, to regulate their emotions if they need to. What's that like? Talk to me about that. Is this like at 5 o'clock in the morning we train, and when it's season, when we're pre-training? Talk about that a little bit.
Our players lift pretty early in the morning with our strength and conditioning coach, Bree. She does a phenomenal job. And then they have individual workouts with my staff. We have meals provided for them. That's one thing that's awesome about this level is the resources are just amazing. So they're going to eat and and then get ready for class and make sure that they're staying up on their studies. They'll check in with our academic support staff to make sure that there's nothing that they need as far as a tutor and that they're getting study halls, so they're getting their work done. And then in the early afternoon at 1 o'clock, we start our practice. So from 1 to 2, from 1 to 3, we're on the court. From 3 to 3:30, we're watching film to make sure that some kids learn differently. I can walk a kid through it or talk about it on the court, but some need to see it. And so we always teach by film too.
So it's a lot of different learning styles.
And then after practice, we may have little meetings with certain players individually to watch film or to talk them through things. Today I'll have a captain's meeting right after practice. And then they will head to a training table that's going to make sure they have the nourishment. And some will be heading to class again. And then, again, they're going to get to bed and start it all over again. It's a long day, but it's very well worth it. And I think what an employer gets from this is someone who understands time management.
What have you learned versus being a player and a coach now?
Yeah.
But you have a long history and a very successful, illustrious pedigree background. But what is the biggest takeaway for you as a woman?
I think, number one, one big lesson that I take with me as a player, as a coach, as a woman is it's never as good as it seems and it's never as bad as it seems. You can lose a game, but keep it in perspective. You may have played really well, but you lost by a point. And if one thing changes, you feel better about it that night. You may win and not play well. And so going back to the drawing board and saying, hey, we won, but these 3 things have to get a lot better. I think that carries over to a lot of things, keeping everything in perspective and not getting too emotional about a win or a loss, but to make sure that every day you're trying to be a better person, a better coach, a better teammate, a better leader. And if you can continue your bar is not what happened yesterday, but what can you do tomorrow? To me, that's a big takeaway.
And that's a beautiful takeaway for life. You act you're almost like a therapist, a cheerleader.
You are. You wear a lot of hats. A fundraiser,
a father, a friend, a marketer. What else? Keep going.
A lot of things. But I think the great thing, especially, and this is why I was so excited about coming to Miami, the resource of people. We have sports psychologists, we have a nutritionist, we have a strength coach, we have a plethora of experienced staff members. Our players are in really good hands when they're here, and I feel really good about what we're able to do to help them with life.
That's wonderful. And the women's basketball has really changed. Talk about that growth. I mean, exponentially from when we were, or at least I was, young to now.
For the first time ever, the women's Final Four ratings outdid the men's Final Four ratings.
What does that mean? Tell our audience more about that.
Well, I think what's exciting about that...
Your face just lit up. You know that, right?
Yeah. But I think and please know, I'm a men's basketball fan too. This is not we're going to put them down because I'm going to...
But that's really nice in conjuntion to have that, as
perspective.
Absolutely.
Well, think about, and you can probably say this about when you were younger. When I was younger, the only women's basketball game that I could catch on TV was the Final Four. That's it. So if I wanted to watch a college game, I had to go. And sometimes with your high school schedule, there's no way. So to see someone that was doing what you wanted to do, to have that goal and the aspiration of it, but also to see it so you could believe it. Now high school players can pull up their phone and they can watch a game. They can look at the stats. They've got so many ways to try to emulate what they see. They can play it back. We could never do that. I think just seeing that so many eyeballs are on our sport. And then you look at what's also exciting is the advertisers that are participating in women's athletics now. To see Dawn Staley advertising Aflac with Coach K, to see her advertising sandals that are UFOs, to see WNBA players on State Farm commercials, and I could go on and on. The fact that we're putting money into women's sports now, it's only going to grow it. And if you look at where we started and where we are now, we did it without a lot of help. So to know that now we're here and now people are paying attention, where can we go when we sink money into women's athletics, and not just women's basketball, but all women's athletics? I think it's a really exciting time to be an athlete in high school and college, because the opportunities are just exponential compared to the opportunities that, say, my mother had when she was denied the opportunity to even play because there were no teams.
Absolutely. So let's walk into the arena. The first time I'm at the University of Miami, Watson Center. Next game is when?
Monday.
I'm walking in. What do you want me to feel? What will I experience? What will our audience that walks in with you feel and want to be a part of? Why would they go?
I think number one, you're going to see a team that is chomping at the bit to get back out there. And the excitement of how they're going to play hopefully inspires everybody that's there, not on just the offensive end, but on the defensive end. And then the opportunity after the game to even have a chance to meet them. That's rare. Not everybody stays on the court to meet the fans. We want to be very engaging. We want our players to interact with people that are different than them, all different ages, likes, walks of life, because I think it only makes all of us better. And hopefully people walk out of there saying, wow, can you believe how incredible Cam was, or Nat was, or whoever? And man, I want to come back and bring people, because I think they're going to want to meet them too. They're going to want to support them, and hopefully not just for one game, but buy season tickets.
And that's really a cool thing, to like know the players' names and then really have a contact, a handshake, a touch, a hug, whatever's needed at that time. That's a humanity that we want in our worlds. Mentors.
We have mentors for all of our players in the field of study. Oh, you're talking about me?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I've been really lucky. I have mentors that are in different walks of life, in addition to coaches.
So some of them have not been on the field.
I think number one, my mother was a great mentor. You know, there's a lot of times growing up, and even until she passed, that I would call her and talk to her about different things that were going on, and she had such a great perspective. But then I look at my high school coach, Rick Marshall, and my college coach, Lynn Dunn. She's in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. She's still working with the Indiana Fever in the administration, but she's a great resource. You know, and I don't know if I would say mentor, but colleague that I depend on a lot. The head coach at Indiana is my teammate from college. We just talked this morning. Now, we used to talk late at night. Now we're older and we talk early in the morning before our work starts to catch up and say, has this ever happened to you? And
it's happening now, because we're talking in the morning instead of at night.
But we talk about things to help each other. And so I do think it's important to have people in your corner. I call that your personal board of directors. That helps you through life. And we encourage our players to do the same.
And your legacy. What's your legacy? Because you're sitting here talking about your mentors. What do you want people to say about you once you've moved on to something else and are sitting with me, interviewing with me, or any part of their life? What do you want them to remember most about you?
That's a great question. I think the biggest thing would be for our players that, A, we helped them reach their potential, because I'll feel like we failed if we didn't. But more importantly, that we prepared them for the rest of their life. And when they look back at all the things they learned through playing for us, that it helped them be successful. It's fun for me when a player calls me and says, thank you for making us be not on time, but early, because that helped me get the job. Or thank you for helping us learn how to go through obstacles, because we had to do that in my work today. And it didn't seem like a big deal. You know, thank you for helping us learn how to work with other people and appreciate them, because when I go to work every day, they're very different than me. If we can help them learn those lessons and they call me later and say, wow, or I see them thriving, that's all I need. That's success.
Beautiful. The center, how many seats?
You know, I'm gonna veto that question for me, and I'm gonna ask Margie. Margie, what's our in Watsco?
It's about 7,500.
There we go.
So we want over 7,500 people from our community to engage, or however long, a couple thousand more or less. Margie's giving me a face right now. I'm not really sure. Okay, that sounds good to me. How can they get tickets?
You know, they can call us, they can get online, but I think the biggest thing is you can call our ticket office at Miami. And I think the big thing is do that, or come early to the Watsco Center on Monday. Our game starts at 7. Show up early, get there at 6, buy season tickets, watch the players warm up, try to get a feel for the arena, pick out which seats you want. If you don't have season tickets that are open, go test them out and see if you like it, because I think if people come once, they're going to get hooked.
Absolutely. Well, I'm all in for the U. And Tricia Cullop, thank you so much for coming by, sharing all your experience with us and the love of basketball, women's basketball. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you for joining me today. I'm Fara Sax. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. And don't forget to visit the U. Woo, woo, woo. Take care.